Hi guys. So today it's Louise and Joe.
Hi,
Hi Joe, you okay?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. So today we've got a unique topic to discuss, um, and it's not aimed at personally at anybody or anything, but there's a reason behind this conversation that we thought had to be brought to the forefront of discussion because it is one of the main theories regarding what happened to David, Kamal, and Rani, which is that they were taken out, assassinated, murdered, whatever you want to call it, by the government or the deep state or black ops. I don't know who people think did it because we believe obviously that David did it, but for the sake of argument, we're going to discuss this theory of why is it that David was taken out by some government agency because of the grey state, but yet Dan, Greg, Catherine, Sophia, and everybody who has discussed this case, drawn attention to this case, got documents and screenplays pertaining to the grey state. Why are they not dead? Over to you, Joe.
That's exactly right. Why do they get a pass? If some government entity come in, took out and annihilated the whole family, including a 5-year-old child, well, these people have been the biggest mouthpieces for 7 years, exposing what the government tried to cover up. They came in and staged all this, according to them, and now they're exposing all of it. Why would they not just shut them up? It would be that easy
Well,
if it
yeah,
were true.
yeah. I mean, and you have to also question. Um, I mean, we know for a fact, we know that Greg knows and Sophia knows. They all know that David did this. They all know there is absolutely no threat whatsoever towards them, and that's why they run freely with all of the garbage because they know that there is absolutely no chance that anyone is ever going to put them in the firing line and take them out because they're too cowardly. There is no way, I'd like to think that Greg does really love his wife. There's no way that Greg would put his wife, his extended family at risk of being murdered for the sake of covering David Crowley. He just wouldn't do it. Well, he wouldn't if he got any common sense, if he genuinely thought that there was some government agency that had taken David out. If they can kill a 5-year-old child, then they sure as shit can kill Greg, his wife, Greg's mother-in-law, his mum, his dad, his brothers and sisters, his nieces and nephews, and anybody who would be, in essence, up for inheriting anything that belongs to Greg, like his computers and his shitty books and all the rest of it, and his documents, and everything that he has stolen from the grey state. They'd all be at risk. And I don't think that Greg's got that much of a backbone to really put David Crowley and truth before the safety of his own family.
Right. He would put all of them in danger. And, they have so many different irons in the fire. They talk about the 9/11, incident. They talk about all these other cases that are conspiracies. They have more than one reason than just the Crowley case to take them out and shut them up. They're exposing all these things.
Well, they believe they are.
Well, they're yeah. I mean, but it's just to gain monetarily. Is what it is.
And I don't think that Sophia would put her grandkids and her family in danger if she really loved them and cared about them. If she felt threatened for one instant, she wouldn't do anything. She wouldn't put them all at risk of being taken out by the
Well, no
government.
one in their right mind would.
Well, no. Unless you've got a lot of money in a secret bunker with Fort Knox security.
Right?
You're just not going to
It's
put
ridiculous
yourself
though.
at risk.
All these conspiracy claims. I mean, it's just a bunch of nutters, chattering pretty much,
Yeah,
trying to find something in nothing, and they all join together.
I agree. But there's just no way on earth that they would take that chance. I mean, they go around saying that there's killers out there on the loose. And if they were all for shutting down anything related to Grey State, you then, and that's why they murdered David, they are then going to come after every single person that is drawing attention to the theory that David didn't do it and say that there's people out there who
Right.
did do it. They're going to be coming after you and they're going to silence you. So why is it that none of them have just had mysterious car accidents with, failed brakes and shit like that?
Yeah, and if that's what I was saying. If they, do believe there's a killer out on the streets still that murdered this family, why don't they provide some sort of fact, something that isn't fabricated to back up what they said? They've had 7 years now.
Yeah.
And they've done nothing but come up with MBFT, which was made up, and all these other little things that they made up. They have nothing factual to point to a killer at all.
Exactly. And even when you've got the medical examiner coming out saying, that's not what I said, you're twisting my words, I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got black and white evidence, and they've got hearsay and speculation and basic gossip and opinion, but we've got the facts. But they don't want to look at the facts. They just want to keep on going over.
Yeah, you can spin it all day long.
Yeah.
You can spin it and say it however you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't have any facts to back up what you're saying, it goes nowhere. You have nothing.
And not one of them has been threatened by some man in black, some mysterious stranger coming and telling them to shut up and not mention the Crowleys if they know what's good for them or anything like that. So, but yeah, there's no way that they would be brave enough to put themselves out there at risk if they thought for one moment there was going to be repercussions for them or their family. And that's why they don't worry about it, and they just come out with all this stuff and telling all these stories. Because if push comes to shove, they'd be running for the blooming hills.
Yeah, and now that we've said that, when they hear this, they're going to mysteriously start getting car problems. And things are going to start happening.
Yeah, mysterious phone calls from numbers that they don't recognize and all this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Of course, there'll be no evidence of it.
I just want to say I don't have the time to mess with people like that because it's ridiculous. So it's not me if it happens.
Exactly. There's more important things to do, and besides which, we're not the killers, so we wouldn't be the ones that would be after them. But the killers, if they are, if there were these killers out there, they're the ones who you would all have to be watching out for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, well, I'll save another bit for when we're off the recording, but I just had another strange thought about that. But yeah, so we just think it's worth reminding people stop and think. Do you really, really think that they would be all brazen and out there saying that the kind of crap that they're saying if they thought for 1 minute someone could just turn up at their door and blow all their brains out and make it look like them, make it look like they'd killed their family?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, if you think about it, these killers, according to justice, came in with kindergarten art projects, liquid nitrogen. They tortured the family, froze his hand, did all this stuff, staged the scene, and they went through this whole elaborate thing that would have took like 2 days to complete. But now they're just going to let it go when these people are trying to expose them. It makes zero sense.
None whatsoever.
It just,
and nobody else connected to David has been bumped off. Now David's dad has got the right to everything, but nothing's happened to him.
And won't.
No. The only thing that's happening to him is there's a bunch of loons who have got big mouths and no facts, spreading rumours about him and his family, and causing problems for him and damaging his reputation and impacting on his life in a negative way, as though his life hasn't had enough negative, traumatic impacting done to it already. They just like to sit there and poke it with a stick. But they wouldn't be seen for miles around if they genuinely thought for one split second that there was a chance that it was going to come back on them.
None of these are real people to them. They just use them as their pawn in their little thing, and they accuse everybody of murder.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not narrowing down their suspect list. They're hanging and adding ones every week.
Yeah.
Somebody else could have done it.
Thinking that they're the be-all experts, and none of them have got any experience that's worth crediting to any kind of forensic experts of any kind of degree, yet they think that they are the experts on every single post-mortem topic that there is. And then they have the audacity to say that they've been doing research, yet they never show it. All they show is the police documents and them talking about their opinion and laughing and joking at the families and the friends' expense.
Yeah. And it seems like they would learn by now, if they say something, we are going to research it. If it's not true, we're going to put out the truth side of it. I mean, because that's only fair. I mean, you got to be objective in any case.
Well, think about it. Before, I know that they've said things before when we've covered topics, and then they try it and counter it, and then start complaining because it means that they've got to look at these things, and they would have. It's only because we've drawn attention to it that they're now looking at it. But if you're genuinely researching a case, you should be looking at everything. So that just goes to show that they only pick and choose what they look at.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
point in case, Greg just stated that the CME doesn't look at any evidence. He just comes in and checks out the body and leaves. Well, that's not true. They collect evidence. They look for signs of what happened, what the weapon was. They help identify the things in the scene as well.
Yeah,
so,
they speak to family members and they build up a history of that person.
Yeah.
And use all kinds of things to aid their own investigation. But if you do research, you know these things. And if you don't do research and you wing it, then you look a fool.
But the thing is, in order to make their fantasy work, though, they need this medical examiner to be a bumbling idiot, or the fantasy falls apart.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense. They're ruining people's careers. I mean, putting black marks on them.
I know.
It's
Remind me later.
insane.
I saw an absolute cracking post by Dr. Kelly. It was brilliant. I'll have to send it you in a bit.
Okay.
It was absolutely phenomenal. It was
Cool.
brilliant. But yeah, they've tried to sort of dismiss his expertise. That they try and dismiss the actual medical examiner who worked on the case. She doesn't know shit. She's young and all this bullshit. She's young and she doesn't know her job. But David and Camille are young and they're experts in their field.
Well, Dr. Kelly, they sought him out
to
talk to him. And Ken May, they sought him out. But then when they don't agree, they're all part of the conspiracy.
Yeah, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't have experience. It
just makes no logical sense. Not everybody in the world's an idiot. They don't agree with you.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered it all for now, but we're quite happy to have further discussions with anyone who has got another side to throw into the conversation. We're always willing to listen and have a decent conversation. So this is what we think. So what do you guys think? We will be back soon. So Thanks for listening. Take care. And don't forget to follow the Crowley Case Facts versus Fiction, Deep State Granny, and the Grey State The Truth. See you soon.
Bye.
Welcome to the darkness. Fear will let you in. The root of all exclusion.
Now to a crime that has rocked a small
Who
town.
is out and who is in?
You respond to the Liney's parking lot reference, the missing child.
Systems of the law.
Look at the back parking lot close to a big alley for the missing child.
Lock us in a cage.
We're going to be over by the ambulance.
Fear those who are different. Refuse to see their pain.
65 to others. Juvenile female is by where the tape is. She just says her mom's in the woods. She said she was screaming. She doesn't know where she is. I'm going into the woods from the tape to the east. I'm going to need more units right here.
Can you show me how you do a pullover on your bar? What about, can you do a front flip, or, I mean, on the ground, or a round off? Or the splits, yeah. Can you do a flip forward, like do a headstand, but do a flip? Do a handstand, but then flip over? Now kick back over the other way. There you go. You're pretty awesome. I want to take your picture. Can you smile? Here, let me fluff this up a little. There, they're just like that. Don't move. Now look at me and smile.
Somewhere 1 and 3 p.m. Lily Peters was seen laughing and enjoying her youth rollerblading around her local area in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. 6 hours later, she vanished, and no one seemed to have any answers. But time was of the essence. This is an ongoing, awful case that's happening right now involving a child, and the details are coming from everywhere. I'm going to try to put them together for you the best I can. I'm warning you up front, this is going to be hard to hear, and you won't get another warning. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth about the tragic Lily Peters story so far. 10-year-old Ileana Lily Peters was reported missing at 9 p.m. on Sunday, the 24th of April, 2022. She was last seen leaving her aunt's house on the 400 block of North Grove Street. She was headed home. She lived nearby on the 50 block of East Birch Street, so she had her bike with her for the journey to and from. My research, if correct, indicates that Lily was staying with her father Alex at the time and her mother Jennifer lived around 60 miles away. Alex knew Lily was out later than she should have been, but when he reported her missing, no mass action was taken by authorities because for an Amber Alert to be issued, certain protocol must be followed. The kid in question must be 17 years or younger, in serious danger of bodily harm or death, and there must be a description of the child plus a suspect or, at very least, a suspect vehicle. Seems like a lot of boxes to tick in a situation like this, and I can't imagine being a parent just waiting around in fear like that. Nevertheless, missing 10-year-old Lily Peters didn't meet the qualifications for an Amber Alert, but searching persisted in the community anyway, and overnight, Lily's bike was found by her father, possibly in a ravine near the cemetery. The following day, police brought in dogs and drones to search the wooded area and investigate a hiking trail nearby. Then just after 9 a.m. on the 25th of April,
I'm gonna need more units here.
Lily's body was discovered not far from there in the woods close to the walking trail in Chippewa Falls, northeast of Eau Claire. In the audio at the start of my video, you can hear Lily's mom crying out in the background as someone gives directions to the spot where they found Lily Peters. Jennifer had seemingly just found her daughter.
The search continues in Chippewa Falls tonight for the person who killed Lily Peters as her community mourns the 10-year-old. Hi, everyone. I'm Randy Meyer.
And I'm Amy Hockert. She was first reported missing Sunday night, and then her body was found on Monday morning. Now, police are investigating her death as a homicide.
As far as we know, it could be anybody in this neighborhood, and that's just not sitting with me at all.
Along the wooded bike path where 10-year-old Lily Peters first went missing Sunday night and then was found murdered Monday morning, investigators continue to comb the hillside looking for any clues as the town around them waits on edge for any answers to calm their nerves.
When we get more info, if he's caught or not, he could be in Florida right now, he could be a block away. We don't know.
Jeremy and Shelby Mocknick live on Grove Street, where Lily spent Sunday at her aunt's home and where the Mocknicks last saw her.
Between about 1 and 3, one of her cousins was on a hoverboard. He had his hands behind his back, and she was on rollerblades holding on, and they were scooting down the street just laughing.
The bike path is at the end of their street. It's where Lily would typically go to get home. It's where her bike was found in the woods, too. Another neighbor, Annika McLeod, was on that path Sunday evening as well.
We did go for a bike ride. I just wish it would have been at the right time.
Across Chippewa Falls, purple ribbons now fly in Lily's memory. In front of her elementary school, signs and flowers and stuffed animals serve as a memorial. Police presence is everywhere, and officers will be outside the schools, which gives some comfort, but still not answers.
There's been a really heavy police presence, which has helped with me and the kids at least, feeling a little bit better, but just knowing that she went down that trail, and that was the same trail my kids walked down by themselves all the time. It was a safe place up until Sunday.
No one could figure out why the cops were at the aunt's house, but the police posted up there for hours, leaving the whole town wondering just what the hell was going on. Authorities were already calling it a homicide, but as the details emerged, it was a lot worse than that. Lily Peters had been beaten and strangled to death. Then, shockingly after that, the cruel monster forced itself upon her lifeless body. Lily was less than half a mile from home, in a place where witnesses report often seeing her ride her bike. She was discovered not far from the Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, by the banks of Star Lake. A child killer was on the loose in the small city of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and a place with just over 14,000 people, known for its rivers, lakes, state parks, and heritage, was scrambling to figure out what happened to the 10-year-old. What? Why? Who? The details were all up in the air at that point, and as you can imagine, No parent in their right mind was taking the situation lightly. Social media was crawling with concerned residents seeking justice for the brutal death of a little girl with a heart of gold and a smile that, as you can see, would melt right through you. A smile that was stolen. The Chippewa County coroner Ron Patton states that the preliminary autopsy results show that Lily Peters died from blunt force trauma and strangulation, but it could take up to 6 weeks for the full medical report to be released. So who on earth would have wanted to kill this child so brutally? Well, once police started to buzz around Lily's aunt's house on North Grove Street, it quickly became obvious that there was more to the story than anyone realized. But the true depth and horror at hand was a hell of a lot darker than it initially appeared. A 14-year-old boy named Carson Peters Berger, as named by the Daily Mail, was arrested for the crime. As you probably guessed or already knew, Carson was Lily's cousin. He was charged with 3 counts relating to the death of Lily Peters. They read as follows: first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree sexual assault, and first-degree sexual